Mangwanani Malelepo Vukenjani Qeqwas Wanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry and Glenn Orashipura.
Good morning, Ashwan.
Good morning, Glenn. How's it going?
Have I ever told you that I like the way you bring us in?
All right. Yeah. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You make me feel very warm.
Which means you should also be doing the click soon.
Yes, I should start doing the click soon, but yes.
It's essential.
Yes. Getting into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Hospitals rely on tankers and boreholes as water issues continue to plague Gauteng. Mysterious disease kills 7 in Ivory Coast. Mozambique police deny attempting to kill politicians. Stick around for these stories and more news on Africa Good Morning.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
We start our top stories in South Africa, where water supply issues affecting 3 hospitals in Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni have not yet been resolved. However, all is not lost because the situation has stabilized. This according to Gauteng Health Department spokesperson Motalatale Modiba. He said water supply at Rahima Mosa Mother and Child Hospital was still intermittent and that the facility was relying on roving water tankers from Johannesburg Water and its borehole. Helen Joseph Hospital, however, has good water pressure and is receiving water from an alternative line through the Brixton Tower, Modiba added. He said the situation improved over the weekend after the facility experienced challenges in the past week where water tankers had to be deployed. Polosong Hospital in Ekurhuleni started receiving water from the municipal supply on Monday, but the facility does not yet have maximum water pressure.
In our next story, mysterious disease kills 7 in Ivory Coast. 7 people died on Sunday in a village in central Ivory Coast near Bouaké, where 59 others were hospitalized due to an illness of still unknown origin. Hospital and local sources told AFP on Monday. 7 people died, 5 at the Bouaké University Hospital and 2 in Nyangban, a village located about 30 kilometers to the south, a hospital source said. We have a total of 59 people hospitalized at the Bouaké University Hospital, mostly children and some adolescents, added the source, specifying that the symptoms of the disease are vomiting and diarrhea. Those who died are between 5 and 12 years old, confirmed the village chief of Nyangban, Emmanuel Kawame and Guzan, reported that around 50 people were at the Bouaké University Hospital. On Sunday, a nurse's aide informed him that children were dying. He said, a close friend of the chief, Celestin Kaudi Kofi, indicated that according to rumors, corn porridge was the cause of the contamination. Zidanik Amonien Yao, the mother of the first victim, claimed to have bought porridge which he gave to her son. After an urge to go to the toilet, she said, he started to vomit when I gave him the medicine that was given to me at the Jibun hospital. We went back to the hospital and they told us to go to Bouaké, to the Bouaké University Hospital. That's where he died at the age of 3, she said.
Truly saddening. Moving on, Mozambique's police chief Bernardino Rafael has denied accusations that officers attempted to assassinate politicians ahead of October's local elections. The mayor of Nampula province, Paulo Vahnale, claimed to have survived in an assassination attempt on 22 August. 2 weeks later, the mayor of Quelimane, Manuel de Araujo, also alleged he was targeted. Both men are members of Mozambique's main opposition party, the ex-rebel Renamo movement, and both men say that police agents carried out the attacks. Speaking at the weekend, the police chief called the accusations false and baseless, saying that they were dreamt up by political parties to distract them from their lacking manifestos. He also said such accusations could harm the leaders and parties themselves because the same police officers they accused were also voters. Mozambique's police were duly prepared to guarantee order and security during the electoral process, he added.
More Zimbabwean elephants are migrating to Botswana earlier as water grows more scarce. Large number of elephants from Zimbabwe's biggest national park are moving to neighboring Botswana in a search for water. A spokesman said on Monday many animals have and are moving from Hwange National Park into Botswana. Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority spokesman Tinashe Farawo told AFP Hwange National Park covers an area of more than 14,600 square kilometers, and is home to about 50,000 elephants. Water bodies have dried up and the animals are in search for water and food, the spokesman said, adding that buffaloes and all types of animals present in the park were also migrating in scores.
And more than 10% of Japanese people have crossed 80 years or older for the first time, new official data showed, as the nation faces a rapidly graying population. Government data released on Sunday ahead of Monday's Respect for the Aged Day national holiday also showed that the share of Japan's population at 65 or older expanded to a record 29.1% from 29% a year ago. The level compared with second-ranked Italy's 24.5% and third-ranked Finland's 23.6%, according to the Internal Affairs Ministry. Japan has the highest percentage of elderly population in the world, the ministry said in a press release. For decades, Japan has seen its population shrink and grow older as young people delay marriage and children, largely due to unstable jobs and economic difficulties. As a result, Japan has been ballooning costs for elderly care, with not enough young people to fill jobs and pay for various social and welfare programs. That brings us to the end of our top stories on Africa Good Morning. After the break, we have a look at South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa's speech at the UN's SDG Summit 2023. Stay with us.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Dear heads of state, heads of government, ministers, excellencies, distinguished guests, I call to order Leaders' Dialogue 1 of the High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development convened under the auspices of the General Assembly, the SDG Summit on Scaling Up Actions and Key Transitions to Accelerate SDG Progress.
South Africa welcomes the important steps taken to address the impact of the current global economic crises on low and medium-income countries through the mobilization of additional financial resources for the 2030 agenda. South Africa also joins the call to address the fundamental development challenges that have long characterized our unequal world. This requires targeted investment, technology transfer, capacity building, and especially in key areas that have to do with industrialization, that have to do with infrastructure, agriculture, water, energy, education, and health as well. It will also require predictable as well as sustained financial support, including supportive trade policies from the international community. Ultimately, the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals depends on the fundamental reform of global, social, economic, and political relations. I do believe that this is still attainable if we all make serious efforts to ensure that we implement what we decided on in 2015. I thank you.
Let's take a look at the weather predictions for Southern Africa.
Getting into economic news, Kenya has extended an oil supply deal with 3 Gulf-based companies, which is designed to manage demand for dollars, the energy regulator said on Tuesday. The East African nation entered the deal with Saudi Aramco, Abu Dhabi National Oil Company and Emirates National Oil Company in March, switching from an open tender system in which local companies bid to import oil every month. The deal had helped lower the cost of transporting oil to Kenya and the premium it pays to suppliers, he said, defending the deal. It also comes with 180-day credit terms, allowing the country to build up dollars for the purchase over time rather than requiring about $500 million every month to pay for imports. Currency traders have, however, been skeptical of its effectiveness, saying it amounts to postponing demand.
New 360 million euros climate fund launches despite market downturn. The venture capital firm that bankrolled the Tesla of tractors is bucking the trend of retreating climate tech investors. Brussels-based Astonor Ventures announced on Tuesday that it raised 360 million euros for a new fund. The firm already has investments in more than 40 startups dedicated to improving efficiency in the food and agricultural sectors. With the new fund, it will continue to invest in solutions for the food system, which is responsible for up to a third of global greenhouse gas emissions. Every single person on earth needs to eat, says Eric Achembio, co-founder and managing partner at Astonor Ventures. That creates a fundamental attractivity for investors, he adds. To provide comprehensive solutions, he says, Astonor is also widening its investing net to include technologies that address biodiversity and water, 2 areas closely linked to food and agricultural production.
We're going to head to the economic indicators just before we return with the sport. We start our sport in the world of football as some of the rebel players from Spain's World Cup winning women's squad who had threatened to boycott the national team in a push to stamp out sexism and gender inequality on Tuesday reported for training under the threat of being sanctioned. Misa Rodriguez, Olga Carmona, Oihane Hernandez, Eva Navarro and Tere Abelera, who had previously said they would not play for the team until further changes were applied at the Spanish Football Federation, arrived at a hotel near Madrid's airport. The 5 were named in the squad ahead of a Nations League match against Sweden on Friday by new coach Montse Tome, despite signing a statement last week calling for more heads to roll at RFEF beyond former President Luis Rubiales and former coach George Vilda.
Now, Russian 19-year-old Diana Schneider took down 8th-seeded American Claire Louis 6-1, 6-3 in the first round of the Guangzhou Open on Monday in China. Schneider won 6 straight games in the first set and came back from a 2-0 hole in the second set to win in 75 minutes. She broke Louis' serve 6 times in 8 chances. Also falling on the first day of the main draw was 6th seed Linda Frivortova of the Czech Republic. Denmark's Clara Tauson eliminated Frivortova 6-2, 7-6. Number 1 seed Magda Linette of Poland avoided a similar fate, rallying past Jody Borach of Great Britain 6-7, 6-0, 6-2. Number 5 seed Rebecca Mazurova of Spain, number 7 seed Great Minen of Belgium, and Harriet Dart of Great Britain also won their opening matches.
Now, France looks set to recall their premium players for the third Pool A match against Namibia in the Rugby World Cup, hoping to rediscover their touch after a mediocre showing against Uruguay. Le Bleu got their campaign off to a flying start with a 27-13 victory against New Zealand, but the reserve side was largely disappointing as they beat Uruguay 27-12 6 days later. The last two training sessions ahead of the Thursday's match against Namibia in Bordeaux suggest that scrum half Antoine Dupont and fly half Mathieu Yalibe, among others, will be back in the starting lineup. Prop Cyril Bale could also start as he makes his comeback from injury, as well as centre Jonathan Dante after Yoram Moefana failed to shine against the All Blacks and Uruguay. With 2 weeks between the Namibia game and the clash against Italy for the Pool A finale, the premium team is set to be largely involved on Thursday to avoid not playing a competitive test for a month. Now we cross over to Ari Hochad, who is in France, to give us the latest.
Good day everyone. International sports news related to the Rugby World Cup 2023 in France, here in Marseille. That is the big game coming up on Thursday. It is Namibia facing the host France, a big task for them, made even more difficult, and that is with the inclusion of a very strong team for France for this game. And they included their captain again, that is Antoine Dupont, probably the best scrum half in world rugby at the moment, and also Jonathan Danfrey. He is the influential centre. He was injured for the first 2 games for France. He recovered from a thigh injury and is back in action in the midfield to play against Namibia on Thursday. Also, Namibia announced their team, and it is Jacques Tron that will start on the scrum half position, and also Jackie van der Westhuizen will be the hooker, and it is Johan Deysel that will remain the captain from the centre position. We also spoke to coach Alistair Coetzee and asked Alistair Coetzee just his thoughts on this game. Die onderhoud was gedoen in Afrikaans, so kom ons hoor wat sê Alistair Coetzee.
Marseille is 'n ongelooflike veld en 'n ongelooflike stadion. Jy weet, so weer eens die spelers en die span wat ek kies was is en jy weet, gee vir ons die beste moontlike opsie om te kan vertoon môre. Jy weet, ons wil nog steeds seker maak elke speler gebruik die geleentheid om homself in die finale span te speel. Ek dink die hoofdoel of die fokus, en ek dink seker maar Uruguay en ook is ons, jy weet, en vir ons is dit hulle, jy weet, maar ons kyk nie ver vooruit nie, ons fokus op Frankryk, en ons wil seker maak dat hierdie spelers die beste geleentheid kry om donderdag 'n groot vertoning te lewer.
Dis 'n kort aantal dae tussen wedstryde. Die span en die herstel van die span, gelukkig daarmee.
Ja, ons het seker gemaak dat ons 'n bietjie vars lywe kies, jy weet, en ander spelers wat nou agtereenvolgens gespeel het, net die skete en die stampe en die stote om dit te kan oorkom. En maar ook, jy weet, ons wil graag spelers ook beloon vir harde werk op die veld, in die oefenveld, jy weet, en manne die geleentheid gee om jy weet, hulle in die laaste wedstryd kan inspeel. Ons het nog 'n goeie voorbereiding gehad, het ontsettend hard gereën gister. Ons het 'n binnenshuise sessie gehad en die clarity in hoe ons wil speel teen die Franse het baie sterk deurgekom, en ek dink die ouens op 'n goeie plek.
That the view from coach Alistair Coetzee, coach of Namibian rugby team. The kick-off Thursday evening, that is Namibian time, and Marseille time is 9 p.m. Also, Rugby World Cup news from England is that they do have a selection challenge, and that is because Owen Farrell is available again to play. George Ford, in his absence, did very well in the first 2 Rugby World Cup games for England, and they play against, that's England, that play against Chile on Saturday. Not sure who they will select, if it's Owen Farrell again or George Ford. And similar for South Africa, also it is Handré Pollard that is in the squad again. Not sure if he will start or be in the team to play against Ireland, that is on Saturday in Paris. That's Rugby World Cup news. Ari Hochad for Sportrap in Marseille.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rap Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. replay Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Thank you for staying with Africa Good Morning throughout the broadcast. Let's dive straight into the highlights. Hospitals rely on tankers and boreholes as water issues continue to plague Gauteng. Mysterious disease kills 7 in Ivory Coast. Mozambique police deny attempting to kill politicians.
And with that, we've come to the end of our broadcast. Do remember that you can catch Africa Good Morning tomorrow, same time, same place. From me, Glenn Arashipura.
And me, Ashwin Berry. Swera Jaganaka.